Good. There we go. All right, so for the quiz, JSON, that's a data representation language. Kind of looks like programming, similar to XML for web services to pass information between them. So for instance, Parse uses JSON as its storage language. We saw kind of what comes out of a role object from Parse on the very first day we looked at it. Kind of some curly braces and then colon delimited name value pairs, right? So that's kind of the role of JSON. Maybe even the better way of describing JSON would be to textually represent an object in a structured standard format. I like that. I like that. I want to write that. I like that a lot. It's legit. Why JSON? Textual representation of an object in a structured, what was the next word? Took me a while to come up with the first time. Pause, rewind. Just getting it. Standard, yeah, that's it. Structured and standard way. And what I mean by that is we didn't have a standard means of doing this when we were storing it locally using the name string separator. That didn't follow any sort of standards. We made that up, right? If something is stored in JSON format, anybody who knows JSON can work with it. They might not necessarily have a great understanding of the object you're trying to represent, but they certainly have all the pieces, and it means something to them. Does that make sense? So what I want to do here just as a small exercise, we have our role object, right? So our role object has a name and a description associated with it. I want to create a function called toJSON_string. And I want this toJSON_string to ultimately output this particular role object in JSON. Does that make sense? It's going to be a relatively short method because we only have two things, so it's more just a little exercise to give us a visual understanding of if we were writing something to store our object in JSON, what might it look like? Now, while I paste this over here, why would I ever want to output my role object as JSON? Besides just glutton for punishment. I saw Simon kind of cringed a little bit, like glutton for something. Is this still No Shave November? Yeah. This is all you got? I'm sorry I'm not a caveman. Well, it's like you drew pretty well on the sides here, but not. I don't have the mustache. Yeah, it's like weird.
If I could, I would.
Oh, you'd have a mustache, Ron Burgundy style?
Oh, yeah, we can
like curl it up. All right, so why would we ever want to convert an object to JSON? Why would we want to represent it in a JSON string? What's an example of what we would do with it? Maybe our hint is parse. We've been using parse to allow us to easily store stuff in a database, right? Well, why are we using parse? Like if you had to take a guess why I chose to use parse in here versus writing it ourselves, what would you say? Simpler for us. But now, if you were doing this commercially, and you were writing a, your own project or something like that, I probably wouldn't necessarily recommend Parse. If you're writing a big application, it's probably worth your while to write the storage initially. Parse is a good tool for quickly prototyping something. Why worry about the back-end storage stuff up front when you can actually work on the actual project and then go back and fix the storage stuff? Does that make sense? So you don't have to write a zillion different things. So if we were writing this ourselves and we were creating our own MySQL database and we had our own web server with our own API thing we were writing it to, the reason why we might want to store something in JSON rather than some made-up delimiter type language like our Dane string is this might be how we textually represent our objects in the database. We might just pass as a data string the JSON version of our role. And it just stores it inside the MySQL database. So now we're passing this stuff around in a standard way. JSON is a standard, just like IEEE is a standard. Just like 802.11 is a standard. Anybody know what 802.11 means? What it represents? Wi-Fi? Yeah, Wi-Fi stuff, right? All the different Wi-Fi standards. They're all 802.11, A, B, so on and so forth. Okay, so the way JSON would look for a role here, I'll just give us a quick example, is an opening curly brace, a closing curly brace at the end. And in between, we would have the string name followed by a colon followed by a value. So maybe it's developer. And then description followed by a colon followed by a developer, something like that. So that would be a JSON representation of this object. So nothing too fancy. And notice how much quicker that was for us to write than the XML equivalent would have been. Not so much that the XML wouldn't have been easy, just the XML is more tedious with the closing tags and all that crap. So this is kind of preferred by programmers. It's like, oh, we're already using half this crap. We make strings all the time, so double quotes, those make sense to us. And curly braces, can't have enough curly braces.
They look like parentheses.
Dane dreams in parentheses.
It's about a bunch of empty parentheses.
Is it? I don't know, I'm trying to remember. I had some messed up dream last night, and it probably is coming from all the violence in video games I've been playing lately. I remember kind of waking up from it and thinking, I shouldn't tell my wife about that.
Tell us though.
No, but I would if I don't remember. It was like I was practicing something like, like some sort of like weapon art or something like that. I was practicing it on children's faces or something. It was something big messed up.
That therapy comment still stands. Yeah, the one morning you wake up with like a broadsword in your hand, like,
I was
recording, so it's good.
I was telling Dane this morning, I did start finding some uses for the Kinect though with the Xbox One. I mean, mostly it's gimmicky, but in this game you can yell commands to your troops. So I'm down in the basement executing people and screaming, like, radios in my position.
One of the guys in my class that got it, he played Battlefield, and you can lean in, like, if you're hiding behind something.
Oh, you can like lean out, right? If I did that, I just get my face blown off. Battlefield, yeah, those first-person shooters doesn't go well for me. It's terrible. What's up? I'm going to after I beat Rise. I'm only going to play one at a time. Then just get epic at it and violent. All right. It's like, whoa. That didn't look on purpose.
Yeah, 6 months ago, come back and still carry today. Everybody run. Yeah.
All right. So this is what the JSON representation of a specific role might look like. So if we were writing this, I would probably return string with format. Format's going to be opening curly brace, closing curly brace, and this is kind of a neat thing that you can do. It's easier to do it in here than it is to do it in Java because of the formatted strings that C# supports and C supports and C support. So we'll start it and end it with the curly brace. Name, and we have to backslash those because with the escape character them, because double quotes are actually what ends and starts a string. So backslash double quote will actually turn into a double quote stored in the string. Then colon, then %@ is we're going to want our actual value for that. But surrounding that %@, we want to have double quotes. Then a comma. Then description, and again, backslash the double quotes. This is called the escape character. So backslash double quote means I want a double quote, but don't treat it as the end of a string. Treat it as the character double quote. Followed by a colon, followed by backslash double quote, %@, placeholder for my description, backslash double quote. Okay. And then we're going to insert name and description in there to fill in our placeholders. And this is not string, it's NS string. I'm in the wrong language. There we go. So we're going to create an NS string, calling it string with format constructor. And this guy must be a class method because I'm calling it with the name of the class. This guy takes in a formatted string, and that formatted string is going to be opening curly brace, the word name with the double quotes in there, colon, double quote surrounded placeholder for our name, comma, description, colon, double quote surrounded placeholder for our description, and then fill in those two placeholders there at the end. And this should return a JSON version of a role. And what we can do to test this is we'll go into manage roles vc.m. And let's go down to view did load. And let's go ahead and let's spin through our roles array, telling each role to print itself out in JSON. All right, so we'll say for role pointer R in the roles, ns log R to JSON string. So when this runs, we should see it print out. I think we currently have 3 roles in this this version, right? 4. We should get 4 different JSON strings. One that's for our developer, one that's for our dancer, assassins, and slave. Manage roles, and there's our JSON strings. Make sense? So we saw that was actually fairly easy to do, so just something to keep in mind for future development. If you ever need to textually represent an object, that's not a bad way of doing it. just using JSON as a standard. There's a reason why JSON is the popular way of doing it today. Okay, questions about that? All right, well, now that we have some ability to store our stuff in the cloud, we need to go back and revisit just who we're going to allow to access our Puppet PM. We need to have some authentication. We want somebody to be able to put in a username and password, submit, and have it get checked with the cloud, and ultimately either let them in or don't. That make sense? And kind of personalize the app for them. So we're going to go back and we're going to create, before we even get to main VC, we're going to create a login VC. So I'm going to right click here and we're going to create a new file. Objective-C class. This is going to be a view controller subclass. You finally got out of traffic?
About 11-ish, 9 minutes left.
How'd it go? Did it go okay?
It's just really long.
Let's see. So we're going to call this guy login VC. And make sure you select with zib for user interface. All right. Let's go ahead and let's create our user interface here. So we'll go ahead and we'll put a navigation bar at the top. Put it at 20. I know, almost Savant mode, right? Login VC. All right. Why is that guy all the way over there? He's like hiding from me. Oh, wait, hold on. Ah, there we go. I thought he was trying to hide from me. He doesn't seem right. Okay. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to have a couple of text boxes in here. And a couple labels.
Did you say text fields?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll have our username and password. Okay. Now, we need to go ahead and give ourselves programmatic access to these two text fields. How do we do that? IB outlet. All right. So we'll come in here, go into login.h. Yeah, we'll end up creating a button. So let's create a couple IB outlets. This is going to be UI, text field, pointer, username, TF, IB outlet, UI text field, pointer, password, TF. All right, then we need to actually hook those guys up. Click on file owner. Here's our password TF, drag that guy down there. And here's our username TF. Now usually we don't want passwords to just show up. So we're going to click on that password. I'm going to hit save because I'm starting to get concerned about the pinwheel of death. Things are seem a little sluggish. Okay, so I'm going to select the password. text field. Go to the shield thing here. And let's see. Is that secure? I think secure is what makes it a password. Let's assume I'm correct. We can test it real quick, because now wouldn't you agree the very first thing we want to happen when they launch the app is for us to see this login view controller? Okay. Actually, that's a lie. That's not the very first thing we want to see. The very first thing we want to see is an awesome splash screen. Right? We're gonna add that after we do this. We're gonna have this crazy clown puppet guy. Looks evil. That's our splash screen for Puppet PM and a broadsword. So we're going to come back here to app delegate. We'll do .h. We're no longer going to be launching main VC in here. So I'm going to go ahead and take main VC out. Now we're going to be doing login VC. I'll change my variable name to LVC. And type login VC. And then in the application did finish loading, we'll give a value to login VC. This guy is going to be a login VC alloc init. And then we'll create our navigation controller with that same login VC. Make sense? Now when we run this, we should have our login window show up first, with no way of getting to our, no, it wasn't an error for us, that was unrelated, I think. I think it was the iPhone simulator crashed. Okay, so here's our username thing, and I think if I type in this password box here, yeah, it's secure. That make sense? Okay, so actually, since we have a little space on that screen, evil puppet master. Let's see what we get under images for this. Ooh, that's a good one. And that's it. I think we have a winner. Oh, yeah. Man, that looks awesome. Okay.
I had a picture of Nick and puppet.
It's true. Okay, so now to show you how that works, how to put a graphic in here, I'm gonna, where's my, wait, hold on, I'm in the wrong, downloads, there we go. It's what? I know. I told you it was going to be awesome. So I'm going to change this guy to a PNG. And we'll put it out on the, actually it doesn't matter. I'll just put it in downloads for right now. And we'll call this guy Puppet PM logo. Got it. Now, I'm going to come inside my project here, and you can just throw anything you want inside the bundle. So this whole thing, everything you see over here is called the bundle. And you see how there's some folders in here? Those are for human eyes only. Folders don't distinguish. To get into a certain folder, you don't have to like say go into this folder to do something. So it's really just for human organization. So I'm going to create a folder called images. It's actually called a group. I'm going to create a new group. We're going to call this guy images. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to our downloads and I'm going to take our Puppet PM logo and I'm going to drop it into images. And make sure you select copy items into destination groups folder if needed. And now it's in there. Okay, so now that that's in there, what we can do is I'm going to come into login VC, and down here we have media, and now we'll see our image has shown up. So this is over here on the right inside of the zip file. The one that was already selected was our objects, our widgets and stuff. Next to that is the thing that looks like some film, and here's our image. Go ahead and drop that guy in there. And we're going to change its size to be 320 by 480. Okay, and then let's go ahead and let's send it to the back so the other things are in front of it. It's pretty legit. And let's run that. See what that looks like on our screen. Oh, we need to. Oh, I made it the wrong size. Hold on. Everybody relax. This is 568. 320 by 568. There we go. Oh man, you can even see like the beginning of the hand above. Oh. That's our login screen. I'm going to make this guy the default. And let's get this guy Alfred's. And we're going to want to make him pretty see-through. Okay, perfect. Except the problem we're going to run into right off the bat is we're going to have our keyboard launch. Suppose we could probably still see the dude's head over that. I'm going to make the background of the whole thing black. So it kind of fills in. You won't see it anyways with the keyboard there. There we go. Legit. All right. So now what we want to happen is we want this to automatically pop up. And I get what Dave was saying now. If you want this text to be white. It kind of gets in the way of the fingers. I think we should use placeholder text. Let's see. Ooh, we can alpha those guys too. Let's do this. Nothing about this interface even says log in. It just says death hand with puppet. Okay. That looks pretty legit. Okay, so now what we want to happen is we want, oh man, I know how to make this even better. No. Yes. We want to have this keyboard automatically pop up. And we want to probably have this username be the starting point. So what we're going to do here is inside of our code, inside of loginvc.m, we're going to go down to view did.
In the middle of this meeting, you pull that out, and people would be like, that's professional.
So I'm going to go down to view did load. We're going to say username tf become first responder, which should make him auto get selected. But now I'm gonna do some manipulation here. Are you stealing my sources?
Well, you just went down a little bit in the religion aspect of the class.
Oh.
It's like a devil master.
Oh, really? Yeah. This is bad.
You have the puppet holding on to the keyboard, so when you launch the keyboard, it pulls up the keyboard with it.
We're gonna do that. We are definitely going to do that. All right, but first, such a good idea. Let me get the alpha back up on this guy because I think now that I've let's just do point. See, now I'm no longer blocking the fingers. There we go. Actually, it looks like they would both fit over on this side, doesn't it? I don't know why it's such a big deal. Can't block the fingers. Okay, there we go. That's our username and password over there. And I think the keyboard's already popping up by default, right? Okay. Now the thing is that in order for us to get the guy to lift at the same time as the keyboard, we're gonna have to do a little bit of timing. So we know how to do this. Let's create an animation, but we're gonna do an animation around a UI image. So I select this back guy. You're gonna see that this guy's class is a UI image view. So I'm going to give myself access to this UI image view, which is a UI view. So new tool in our toolbox. So I'll create another IB outlet. UI image view pointer puppet image. All right. And then let's go ahead and connect that. Here's my puppet image. Drag it out there. Okay. Oh, that way. Since this thing is in the background, we can actually have it so it's constantly, like you see the hand going up and down like that while you're logging in. It's a live background. It is perfect. All right, so let's get this puppet hand moving. Is what we're going to do. So with that in mind, we're going to actually get this guy back down to the bottom. Okay. And we're going to come into our .m file inside view did load. And let's get some animations going. Okay, animate with duration. That's a delay. Let's do this one. Actually, we want to do this one. We want to do something upon completion too. So let's say this guy takes 1.0 seconds. And first animation we're going to do is we are going to have our puppet image dot frame is equal to CG rect make, and we'll keep this guy at x is 0, y at -90. I think that's where he ended up, and then puppet dot frame dot size dot width. So keep his width and height what they currently are. Okay, so that's what we'll do for the first 1 second. And then at completion, we'll move it back. Okay, and actually let's do this for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, just so we can see it actually happen. Actually, you're supposed to be moving. Let's see, puppet. Let's try just having it move up. Maybe I wrote the completion thing wrong. We did hook that up, didn't we? Yeah, I took it off. Yeah, I had it on there initially. Let's just try forcing its frame to be -90. Make sure that we're actually moving it. we're good. Why did it work before? And I know we're basically out of time. All right, let's just see what this looks like. Then we can mess with it some more next time. All right, well, that looked kind of cool for a stopping point. So we'll actually make our guy log in next time. We'll use Parse to send a username and password and make sure we get him authenticated, and then show roles for the user that's actually authenticated. All right, I'll see everybody on Wednesday.